Anytime Laura Fryer makes a video, I am in. Let's check it out.
Our future was being decided behind closed doors, and we knew it. It was February of 2000. I was just months away from finishing up Crimson Skies, and the Xbox was still a high-stakes gamble that a lot of people at Microsoft wanted to kill.
Robbie tries to talk to Bill, and Bill yells at Robbie.
If I'd had glasses on, I would have needed windshield wipers on him because he was spitting at us so hard and so fast.
Bill would yell at us for a while about these different things, and then Ballmer would take over on the business case, and the business case looked terrible.
By now, and the reason it's called the Valentine's Day Massacre is because all Valentine's Day activities are now off.
You know, today, but for those who don't know, Laura is a former Xbox executive. She was in charge of, or helped launch the original console, has so many insightful stories about the video game industry, specifically at Xbox. She has a wealth of information, and it's a joy every time she releases a video. What is being discussed right here would now be seen as bad business or a toxic work environment. But at the end of the day, they got shit done, and I love that.
In the room for the Valentine's Day Massacre meeting, but our team knew that everything was on the line. When Ed and Robbie walked out, they hadn't just saved the project. They had defined the Xbox culture. And in the years ahead, I saw what that meeting actually created. We became a team that argued passionately about everything.
Yes.
The controller, the games, the tools. To an outsider, it probably looked like we were at war with each other. But I knew the truth. We were fighting for the right reasons. We could push each other that hard because we all shared the same vision. We weren't wrestling each other. We were wrestling the ideas.
I'm a game director now, and I'm co-directing with Leonard Borarsky, and that's how we work.
But today, that heat has been replaced.
Oh boy, I can't wait for this. Oh man, yes. Oh my gosh, this is the quintessential video that needs to be talked about right now. Oh my gosh, please, Laura, go.
The recent layoffs at Xbox show what happens when that friction ends. The soul fades because that intense discussion, that push and pull, is exactly what makes great things. So I have to ask, where did it go? And more importantly, how do we get it back?
Yes.
So that was the first time I learned that, people can really be anti-passion in this industry.
You know the story of those early games. A small group of friends tinkering together in a basement or a cramped dorm room or some cheap office. They're surrounded by monitors and old pizza boxes. They have nothing but their passion and a burning desire to create.
We occupied the second floor, so we got broken into a couple times.
There was that crack house behind the building.
I was employee number 5. We were in one.
Dude, I love this stuff. I love it so much. I think at any point in your career, you can't just walk right in. You see this all the time with, those videos of those girls who are like, itty bitty, like those girls, the little girl boss videos that were really popular a couple years ago. These are girls who are and guys who just walk right in to companies that have already made it. I very much feel that you have to feel the struggle, and that going through the struggle creates wonderful results. Now, sometimes it doesn't, but that's part of the process that you learn. You learn how to work through. You got to learn how to deal with the cracked in and the break-ins. I have fun, passionate stories about that from my time back at Screw Attack. Obviously, doing this with side scrollers has been a little bit different, but at the same time, there are always struggles when it comes to this. This is amazing. I love this. Oh my God.
A room and a half. Everybody did everything.
Yep.
In these teams, everyone's a maker. There are no layers of management or HR trainings every week. There are just people wearing different hats and trying to fill in the gaps because they have to.
I do a lot of the art, animation, level design, all that kind of stuff. And we basically just share all the tasks to make games like this.
I'm Matt Griffin. I'm the PR marketing director and also lead tester, voice actor, just basically anything that keeps them focused on the game, I'm gonna handle it.
The goal wasn't a fancy corporate headquarters or some award at a conference. The goal was simply to make something that mattered, to change the world.
Jason said it best, I think. He said that Microsoft is building the biggest cannon in the world, and they're pointing it right at Sony, and we can be the bullet in that cannon, and we can make a really big impact on the course of the game industry.
The mission was simple. We like the tech, we like games, and we like each other.
The workplace that was something like when I used to get together with my friends in junior high school and high school to play Dungeons and Dragons. We just all waited for the weekend to roll around so we could play games, and then we played games all weekend and lived off of almond joy bars and Cheetos, and you couldn't tear us away from playing games. And that's the kind of environment I wanted to create.
There is something very valid to the idea of liking the people that you work with. Is it possible? We've seen this. Was it 2,000 people working on a single game? How can you possibly like all 2,000 people? You're going to have factions. You're going to have cliques. You're going to have people that you hate, people of opposite thinking, people of whatever. But the goal here should be finish the game, make the game great, not get the award like she talked about. But guess what? We have to do that because there are things tied to getting that game out and review scores. The entire industry has changed.
Going to make something cool. And while they're still figuring out exactly what that game is, it's the team vision that carries them through those passionate debates.
We had the advantage 20 years ago of being really stupid. I mean, being really young, but that young is stupid.
That's pretty cool.
In that mindset, like anything is possible, so you just get started and then you figure out what's hard in the way.
This is what I think of the Computer Game Developers Conference.
Yes.
Even the Game Developers Conference started with that same soul. The drive to share, to learn, and to figure out what games could become. Chris Crawford, who literally wrote the book on Atari development, started GDC in his living room.
We were sharing stories with each other. So it was very, around the campfire kind of idea. That's really all we talked about that first weekend was common problems, common solutions.
But years later, Chris gave his famous dragon speech. He told a room full of developers that the industry was losing its soul, that we were becoming too corporate, too safe, and we'd forgotten why we fell in love with this in the first place.
Ooh.
He ended the speech by literally charging out of the room to go chase the dragon of artistic greatness. That speech hit hard because it came from the man who started it all in his living room. He saw the heat being traded for polish and safety decades ago.
Oh my gosh, this guy was a trendsetter, way ahead of the game. Saw it all there. Like, whether you see games as art or just fun, whatever, there are artists behind the project, and it's amazing to see that. Like, yes, there's an artsy-fartsy thing to what he said, and there is a business aspect to all this stuff. I get it, right? But you have to have passion, whether you're on the business side of it, whether you're on the creation side of it, there has to be passion behind it. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this. This is spectacular.
We adopted that same defiant spirit in the Xbox ATG team. Our mission was simple: help developers make their games great on Xbox by making the tech get out of the way of the art.
They were saying, we're going to fix this. So more of the money is going on the screen, not just trying to figure out the convoluted hardware. And that was like, really? I mean, it was like oxygen.
But by the way, I interviewed Lauren several years ago. I don't even remember, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, but probably, I think pre-COVID. One of the more fascinating interviews I've ever done. And that guy is a huge fan of watermelon juice. I don't know why you need to know that. That's just what I remember from that conversation.
We didn't just hire engineers. We had artists. We had audio people. We had designers. We had a team of game makers to support the game makers. And that shared vision was the soul of our team. It was the foundation that allowed us to wrestle with ideas. But being aligned doesn't mean being quiet.
That my passion in having these meetings can be off-putting.
Great people have friction and lots of it. And this is where it gets really interesting. You see, the friction of creatives pushing against each other is where the magic is made. But that can't happen without trust. It requires people to forget themselves and play in the space of the game, in the space of the ideas, rather than the space of their egos. When you watch a great team debating a feature, it can look intense. To an outsider, it might even feel like they're angry.
Do you feel like it's pretty close to functioning the way you guys want it to be, or not? No, how much?
If you think the AI sucks, say the AI sucks. I mean, don't ask me how I feel about the AI.
But they aren't wrestling each other. They're wrestling the idea. And in that effort to find the solution, they forget themselves. They aren't in the room anymore. They're in the game. It's almost as if they are the game wrestling to become real.
It's about, she's nailing this as far as the ego goes. I think this video right here is what I've seen so far, the most important video that the video game industry, everybody needs to watch. And I hope that this is required viewing because she's talking about passion. Look, to be clear, I am positive that some of this happens. Some of this happens in the industry. I'm sure there's squabbling back and forth. I'm sure it's not all la-di-da. I'm positive it's not. But how much passion can you show with bloated teams? Not everybody has an opportunity to be passionate. And how passionate can you be when you have an HR person breathing down your neck saying, you can't say that, or we need to hire this type of person? It does not work out. It's not conducive to a passionate environment. It's not.
Personal. It's passion.
Epic delivered, Epic over-delivered. They did a great job for E3. And I think that creative difference, that conflict is the way you get a better game.
And this is why smaller teams often find more success. They have the trust to let the social noise fall away so the game can take center stage. In those rooms, nobody's offended if voices get raised or people get interrupted because everyone knows you're not fighting each other. You're fighting for the best version of the game.
It was Leonard and I in our office, and I talked about it. And it wasn't us arguing. It was just us talking and on the whiteboard and going over things. And, to the people at Obsidian, a lot of them thought we were arguing. And if you actually would listen to what we were talking about, we were trying to figure out if an idea would work.
And that's the soul I'm talking about. Games aren't just the code or the art. It's the relationships, the shared belief, the willingness to fight for an idea in service to something greater. And when that trust exists, that's when you get the magic. Because you don't just get games that work. They feel like they have a heartbeat, a soul.
It's no wonder that the game feels the way that it does, which is that's a fantastic thing, honestly.
And to be honest, for us, it was even a surprise to see how appreciated it is, because sometimes we feel like we went too far, but no, it works well for people, and we are super glad about it because it's really the game is pretty much the studio soul put into video game form. Where we don't like to take ourselves too seriously, but also we want to touch on some very deep and personal themes. So we are super happy to see how much it connected with players, and I think it's a testament that people want to feel the soul of a game when they play it.
GTA 6 is gonna be huge, right? But think about all the massive games that have been released over the last several years. When I say massive, I mean in terms of sales. Games that have been surprise hits, games that have relatively small teams. That's the one thing that binds a lot of these success stories together is these are not 2,000 team, 1,000 person teams. These are smaller, intimate teams that have relationships with each other. And we actually just had Marty O'Donnell on our show, and he was speaking about how it was just a small group of people creating the original Halo, small-ish, once again, had these communications, that had these relationships that ultimately bled over to the game to where you'd see your developer friend in the game as an NPC or whatever. Why? Because it was fun. It was fun to them. They had the end goal of creating something special, and they did. And oh my God, I'm loving this.
A masterpiece that carries their team's soul. You can feel the high trust, the real alignment, and everyone having skin in the game.
A group of friends with a shared vision and the drive to make something great.
Tale as old as time.
And let's be honest, that is a terrifying way to work. It means if the game fails, you go down with the ship. There's no corporate safety net to catch you. No next project already lined up by the parent company. That pressure is immense. But for Sandfall, it was a catalyst. Some of them had never worked on a project this size before. Some hadn't worked on a game. But they brought that raw passion with them. And they built a team that had space to discuss ideas passionately because they were all pulling towards the same dream. And because they had to get it right. Or look at Team Cherry, the makers of Silksong. After their huge success, they didn't hire a massive team or move into a fancy office. They stayed small, independent, and true to what made them special. Silksong took longer, but they didn't cave to that pressure. They just wanted to make something great together. And they did. Fans sometimes grumbled about the wait, but they showed up because the game reflected their brilliance once again. It proved that protecting the process is worth the time.
Man, I'll tell you this right now. I think everybody struggles with that, is the idea that you have success. We got to capitalize on it. We got to keep going. I am just as guilty as anybody else. We got to keep going. We got to keep going. And like, man, credit to them. Credit to them for saying, no, it's done when it's done. It's going to be awesome when it's released. And it was. You see on the screen, 7 million copies sold. That's ridiculous for an extremely small team. It is so hard, and you hear this with like professional wrestling all the time, chasing the dragon. She used that expression a second ago in the speech right there, where you're chasing the dragon. You always want that success, that feeling right there. And it's very hard to put yourself on a leash. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had to chase your own dragon and what that dragon was, and make sure it's not cocaine. Just saying.
We reclaim that soul. Well, we build teams that trust one another, and then we protect them.
This is just how I am. If you want to make games with me, this is how I am. I get really excited about things. When I'm excited about something you design, you're going to love it. When I'm excited about something I've designed and you want something else, you're going to hate it.
We make sure that everyone on the team has skin in the game. That means more makers and a lot less managers. Teams where everyone pitches in when needed. And we have to stop being afraid of healthy friction. It's okay to disagree as long as there's enough trust that everyone can commit once the decision is made.
If one disagreement is going to make you write someone off forever, you're going to live in a very, very small circle, and it's going to be a bubble. People will only agree with you 100%. And let me just tell you, you're not going to get better games out of that little bubble.
No.
And look,
I think we've seen that the last several years, haven't we? Oh, man. Woo.
History doesn't need more polish and politeness. It needs more heat.
And people over, it's not that you have to be mean, but I think I've seen when I was working at Google, sometimes people were actually too nice to the point that they didn't want to step on somebody's toes, so they didn't want to give direct criticism. And then that made the product suffer a lot. And we made decisions where we really didn't care. We cared more about how like we as the engineers felt than what the actual users felt.
What's interesting to us are people who, yes, are flawed, but who care deeply about each other. And conflicts arise because they have different perspectives on what needs to be done.
I'm sorry about Adia.
We need more teams that are brave enough to protect their soul and to stay true to themselves. Teams like Team Cherry. We need people like we had in the early days, where the game reflected the trust, the delicate balance. You could feel the soul of the team when you played the game. And friction, that wasn't a problem. That was fuel. But it's hard work. It means being willing to wrestle with ideas and set aside egos, and it means facing hard realities together. But we've seen it work before, and we're seeing it work now.
We sure are.
And I think we can reclaim that soul.
We're going to have to start learning today, here, now.
Let's go.
Come, dragon, I will fight you. Sancho Panza, my sword. For truth. For beauty. Charge!
Oh my God, I love it. All right, hey, I needed so much to talk about here, right? We talked about small teams many, many times. I'm a huge advocate of small teams not getting too big. Personally, I've said this many, many times on the show. Instead of a $100 million game, I would much rather make $25 million games. I'd rather make $101 million games. The problem is, I don't have $100 million. I have thought about getting into game development or game publishing when it comes to side scrollers and helping fund game development many, many, many times. We obviously don't have $100 million to spend. We don't have $1 million to spend when it comes to this stuff. But I am very intrigued on the idea of helping indie developers make their games a reality. I am passionate about this, and it's amazing to see this video, the way she so eloquently delivered it. I fully encourage you to check out her channel. She is brilliant. I would love in time to eventually work with her in some way, shape, or form. If in my blue sky world is Laura comes on and she helps guide side scrollers and game development that we want to do and game publishing. And oh my God, I mean, I make no bones about that. I think she is the bee's knees when it comes to this space because she gets it. She absolutely gets it. Anyways, I would love if you get it by subscribing to our channel. And I got this other video right here I'd love for you to watch as well. So check that one out. Thanks, guys.